Welcome back. There's new information this morning surrounding former President Trump's 2024 campaign and the opposition file that his team is preparing for use against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. As Politico reports, the preparations indicate an upcoming primary fight that could make the, quote, 2016 primary fireworks look tame in comparison. Oh, we're all looking forward to that. Trump's team is planning to attack DeSantis' record as a governor, as a congressman, and his record as a prosecutor. Specifically, that DeSantis was a, quote, extremely lenient prosecutor in cases involving, among other things, potentially child pornography. So far, the Trump team has conducted focus groups to hone in on the messaging, per the reporting. The goal will be to take advantage of the time before DeSantis officially announces a run by launching new lines of attack on the governor while casting him as the establishment favorite. Joining us now, the author of that piece, national political correspondent for Politico, our friend Meredith McGraw. Meredith, great to see you. So let's talk about this opposition file. Has the Trump campaign worked up a file like this about anybody else who might jump in the race? And what in particular are they trying to drive home about DeSantis?
Well, this is what campaigns do, right? They dig into their opposition. And right now, Trump's team is looking into Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' time as a member of Congress, as a prosecutor, his private life, and his time, of course, as governor of Florida. And they're trying to see exactly the best line of attack for them against the Florida governor before he's even announced he's getting into the race. Donald Trump has made no secret that he plans to barrel ahead with his broadsides against DeSantis. He has been testing out nicknames in public and with reporters, and he's really gone after DeSantis's record as someone who has sort of backpedaled on privatizing Social Security and Medicare, among other things from his time in Congress. But one of the things that they are looking at, too, is his time as a prosecutor, digging into individual cases. This isn't anything new for a campaign to do. This is pretty standard fare. But before DeSantis has even gotten into the race, the Trump campaign has made clear that he's their number one target.
Yeah, it does seem like they're doing everything they can to keep DeSantis from jumping in the race. Unlikely that will be successful. But one area where DeSantis and Trump seem to agree, and DeSantis made a lot of headlines this week by suggesting that the U.S. does not need necessarily to involve itself in the Ukraine-Russian conflict, deeming it a territorial dispute, when, of course, this was Russia invading its sovereign neighbor. And there's been some GOP pushback to that. Tell us a little bit, Meredith, about how this issue could shape the Republican primary field, because it does seem like a lot of GOP voters might agree with the two of them.
Well, for a while, there's been some searching into what exactly is the Florida governor's position on foreign policy. People have looked back at his time in Congress when he was on the Foreign Affairs Committee to see exactly where he stands on a lot of positions, and it was kind of unclear. So when he came out with this questionnaire on Fox News's Tucker Carlson show, it really did take a lot of people by surprise when he aligned himself with Trump, with Tucker Carlson, too, in calling this a territorial dispute. And this really goes against what a lot of people in his own party leadership, people like McConnell, and even those who have announced they're running for president, like Nikki Haley, or are likely to, like former Vice President Mike Pence, who have said that this is about freedom. And we've seen senators on Capitol Hill who have really taken offense to how DeSantis has described the war in Ukraine in this questionnaire, and have, called on him to perhaps reconsider or take into consideration the humanitarian disaster that the war has called as well. But the DeSantis lining up here with Trump and the Tucker Carlson wing, we've seen some waning support for Ukraine in polling, but this really did take some people, especially Republicans on Capitol Hill, by surprise.
Yeah, there was certainly unleashed a firestorm of criticism, at least from Republicans in the Senate, far less, though, in the House. We'll see how this shapes the race going forward. Politico's Meredith McGraw, thank you, as always, for being with us this morning. Great reporting today.